Hey guys, welcome
Hola.
to Sippin and Spillin with Syd
And Mike.
from 3 Mississippi, coming at you live from the greenery.
Live from
Hummingbird.
Yep. Hummingbirds are out.
They are. I had my first one on Saturday. I had my feeders up for like about a week already, and now I'm getting like one here, one there, one here, one there, and then they're gonna start coming.
Yeah.
Excited.
Well, that was the first one I've heard. I haven't seen it yet, but I heard it.
I saw it.
First one I've heard this season.
It's exciting. It's very, that's like everybody, we were even like messaging each other, like the neighbors, like, who's had their first Hummer yet? Like, who's seen one? Like, So when everybody's like, we got our feeders out, we're waiting. And then everybody was like, yeah, okay, I saw one.
Well, now you can message them all.
Oh, I already told them I saw mine.
Oh, you've seen it.
Yeah, I've already seen them. The first one I saw, I was doing dishes and I looked up and it was the one right outside my window. And I was like, oh, it's here. I'm such a bird nerd.
You are a bird.
In fact, in yesterday's Sippin and Spillin, I was talking about painting the lid of the porch here blue to deter sand.
The lid, eh?
Yeah, the lid, the ceiling, whatever.
Speaking of that.
Wait, hold on, let me finish. To deter sand dabbers. And then my girlfriend Beth was like, what did you mean a sand dabber? And I was like, oh, I meant a dirt dauber. A sand dabber is a bird.
Look up. Look in that top
That's a
corner.
wasp.
That's a wasp building a wasp nest.
Make it stop.
On the ceiling.
Make it stop. That's why I need to paint it blue.
Nobody's stopping you.
You stopped me.
When did I stop you?
You told me not to yet because you wanted to replace this maybe.
Oh.
And so you said, don't paint it yet. And I was
It's
like,
going to be years before I replace this.
at least he's starting to realize reality. I'm going to paint it in the meantime because I don't want wasp nests over here.
Yeah.
So
it's going to be years before I replace that lid.
Yeah.
So
yeah, I'll paint it soon. Maybe when probably not till after I get back from California, but I will paint it.
Oh, so you're planning on coming back?
Why, do you want me to stay out there, not come back? You want to be a shingle mingle dad?
So I have a question. How many of y'all pay your kids, your minor children, to work? I'm not talking about chores and allowances, right? I'm not talking about that. That's a normal thing for a lot of people. Their kids have allowances, and some people will get carried away, or not carried away, but some people will get like crazy about it, and they'll make a chart for what the chores are, what the value of each chore is, and then at the end of a week or a 2-week period or whatever, they can tabulate up. There's a lot of different ways to do allowances. I'm talking about a time card, an hourly rate for work that is not within the normal scope of chores. I'm just curious how many people do that.
Like a family business situation.
Right.
I think, to clarify.
Because that's kind of where I am is, I did a bunch of research when we first moved here and found out that not only can you pay your 13-year-old, as long as it's a family business, you're not a partnership with someone who's outside of the family. There's some rules, right? But not only can you pay a 13-year-old legitimately, but now once they have income on paper that they can show as income, they can open a Roth IRA at 13 years old. That's a huge thing. I mean, how many of y'all out there that are my age are going, man, if I would have started a Roth IRA when I was 13 years old and even just put in $2,000 a year, where would I be right now? That'd be huge. So, I mean, that's kind of the way I look at it with Frankie is, you, all joking aside, a lot of people make jokes about how hard she works and about how, she does things that a lot of grown-ups don't do. Well, I mean, a lot of what you guys are seeing are things that are not normal chores.
Yeah, those are on her time card.
She's on the clock.
Yeah.
When you're seeing some of that.
Time card, and she writes
clocks
down her hours that she works, like when she started and when she stopped that day.
I mean, she doesn't get paid for taking out the trash.
No, that's a chore.
Cleaning the litter box, or for putting the dishes away. Those are all chores that 13-year-olds should have. But when I say, hey, Frankie, meet me out at the chicken coop in 10 minutes, we got work to do, she clocks in.
Mm-hmm.
And if it's farm work having to do with the business, she clocks in.
Yeah.
And she gets paid an hourly rate, and there's an expectation that she's going to be working and not, playing around and on her phone. And so, I mean, a lot of people, they're like, man, Frankie works hard. Well, yeah, I
Yeah,
mean,
she's getting paid to work
she's
hard.
getting paid to work during that
I
time
mean,
frame.
it's I guess you could say it's almost like a paid internship because she's kind of learning stuff as she's going, obviously, because she is only 13. And while she has more experience helping with building and demolishing and now working the tractor and
Yeah,
running different kinds of tools and things than a lot of, I would say, teenage girls on average, probably. Um, she's still learning.
yeah,
She's still learning. But I really feel like, um, I would say, since we moved here, she's definitely had she's so much more capable. Like some of the little receptors in her brain have connected a little more,
yeah,
I
yeah.
guess you
She's
could
she's
say.
becoming mechanical.
Yeah.
She's got mechanical ingenuity, and just like in the construction trades, just in my day job world, when you hire somebody and they don't really know how to do something yet, you're training them. They're an apprentice or they're a trainee. You're still paying them. Now you're not paying them a journeyman's wage, right? But you're paying them. You're paying them, a fair wage for what they're worth, or for what they're performing, right? Um, and as what they bring to the table grows and improves, you have to have a conversation about wage, right? And
Yeah.
and when I look at the things that I'm doing, I'm like, this is a two-person job, or I really could I do it by myself? Maybe, but with two people, it makes sense. And what would I be paying somebody to help me with that, right? Um, that's kind of the way I look at it. And if
She
Frankie can
makes
fill that gap,
5 cents an hour.
right,
No, just kidding.
right, she makes more than minimum wage.
Yeah.
She does, and the reality is, and we don't have a required amount of time. It's not like a normal day job where you have to put in 40 hours a week. You work from this time to this time. It's not like that because she's 13.
Right. And her
She's
she still she's got school and she's
yeah.
got church activities and she's got,
Sometimes
yeah.
she just says, "Hey, I want to stay the night at Morgan's house,"
Right.
and it's like she's 13. You can't say no. You have to work, right? But when she's available to work,
There are
we work
times
it out,
though that we say, "Hey, we got to work this day. We have to do X, Y, and Z.
right?
So don't ask to spend the night anywhere. Don't ask to have a friend over this week. Like we're not doing anything funky. Like
Right.
this week X, Y, and Z has to happen." And she's real good about, okay.
And along
So
with that, now, I mean, some people are over there like doing some math, getting the calculator out and going, wait a minute, okay, he's paying her more than minimum wage. Well, first of all, if you're going to do this, what I'm describing, it has to be legal. You have to pay them at least minimum wage. That's like a requirement.
yeah.
You can't have an
You can't
employee on the
you
books
can't have
that
like slave labor.
right.
Yeah.
So if people are doing the math, saying, okay, well, if she works, even a few hours a week, um,
I would say on average, what would you say? I'd have to go look at one of her time cards, but I would say on average, like in 1 week, it's probably between 4 to 8 hours on average a
it
week.
probably had been in March. She only worked 11 hours
Yeah.
on the time card.
Yeah.
March was thin. There was a lot of things going on,
Hummingbird.
and she didn't, and you guys probably could tell by the videos that we put out. There was a little more time, like when we go on a family fishing trip,
Right.
or a little exploring, or none of those are count, right?
Right.
Um,
And all the hunting, getting
right.
ready for the
That's not,
deer,
yeah,
like
exactly.
that was recreational
And
setup.
you guys noticed there was some videos of me working by myself on the coop because Frankie had a lot going on,
Yeah.
So I think she only worked 11 hours in March, but April, she's going to get a lot more hours than that because we have a lot to do. We're getting behind on some things. I need her help. I literally need her help.
Yeah.
And that's, it's not a charity thing. It's not like, hey, she's my kid, so I'm going to give her a job. No, I need the help. I don't want to go hire somebody else. I want to
Yeah.
train my kid and teach my child these valuable skills, and have my child be the employee, right?
Yeah, and also it's good, for a convenience standpoint, it's nice because she's here. And
Right.
so when his schedule is a little wonky, it's easy for him to say like, "Hey, in 20 minutes, I'm going to be able to go outside and work on the coop for a little while. I'm going to take a break," or in what, you know what I mean? So it's just
Right.
that there's that convenience of, if you were to hire an outside helper, you can't say like, "I'll call you," and then you got to be on call to
Right.
come by in 20
Right.
minutes.
But it's hard to get an hour in here or an hour in there
Yeah.
with an outside helper.
Yeah.
With Frankie, I can say, "Hey, Frankie, we still got I'm off work. We still got an hour and a half before dark. Let's go out. I need your help with the seedlings and doing some, seedlings, farm related. That's something that she's on the clock for. So, she can get in an hour and a half. So it is convenient to be able to have, her just put in an hour, as opposed to calling somebody saying, "Hey, can you come over here and give me a hand with something for an hour? I'll give you $8."
Yeah.
They're gonna be like, "Well, cost me that in gas to get over there, bro."
But she's, but all that aside, and you guys know, and you've commented, and we appreciate it, that what a good kid she is, and like she's a hard worker, and she is, and we can only take credit for a portion of that. She is just naturally a good little human, and we
Yeah.
got lucky in that sense that she's just that way. That's just her
Well,
nature.
I mean, I don't know if we got lucky. I mean, some of it is we got lucky.
I think some of it.
Um, as far as like how the brain is wired, but a lot of how the brain is wired is developed as they're being like molded as a child. So
Well,
I feel
yeah.
like we get credit for
Well, we
a
do.
lot of that,
We do, but
you
she's
know?
also like, I think there's times too where sometimes you can do what you think is everything right, and you still screw them up royally. And
Yeah.
I don't know, I just
And we're
sometimes,
not done yet. We still got time to
yeah.
screw up.
Well, I only have, that expression about you always throw out the first pancake. I only have one pancake.
Yeah.
So I have to do a good job. It has to be golden brown and bubbly. It has to be perfect. There is no backup plan.
But I'll tell you, she also, like you guys know, those of you guys that have been watching us for a while, she wants a horse. Um, there are expenses that come with horses. And while as the parents, we will absorb some of those, we will not absorb them all. That is that is something that she wants to do, that she knows comes with an expense,
Mhm.
and with several
and
different various
and
expenses and
responsibilities, because she
responsibilities.
knows, like, I pretty much take care of all the animals that we have
Right.
on. I mean, I think that's fair to say, like, there's very rare occasions where I'm like, "Hey, I need your help with actually physically taking care of the animals." It's either means I'm sick, like throwing up by the toilet sick, or I'm not here for whatever reason, I'm
Right.
going to be gone. Usually, like, I
I
do,
mean, yeah,
just like
like
he
the
doesn't say like, "Hey,
right.
go plant my garden for me." Like, that'd be weird, right? Like, that's just how
Well,
it
yeah,
is.
but there will be times in the garden where I'm like, "I need your help. We got to go harvest an entire bushel of tomatoes, and you're
Yeah.
going to help."
Yeah.
Just like, I mean, with the animals, I mean, the day-to-day feeding of the animals
And
and
care.
basic care of the animals is her. But then when it's like time to ban somebody or something, then it's like, "Hey, I need your help." And
Yeah.
then,
Yeah. I'll be like, I need you to hold the buckling while I
yeah,
do
whatever.
my jam here.
But with the horse, the daily care of the horse
Is going to be her
is going to
responsibility.
have to be her.
Yeah.
If she cannot do that responsibly, then the horse goes away.
Yeah.
Because I,
I mean, like I said, like, I don't mind helping out with it. Like, if she has an
right,
event or something, like, I mean, I understand. Like,
right,
I would ask her to fill in, to help me with something, like if I
right,
wasn't going to be here. But more often than not, she needs to be the one that's like cleaning it,
yeah,
feeding it, monitoring it, any health things that, that
right.
kind of stuff.
I mean, if she has to get up 20 minutes earlier to go to school because she has to go check on the horse before she goes to school, so be it.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, I have a job, and I have to, work longer in the evenings in order to maintain my plants and do my things, because I have my job that I have to go to. Just like she has her school that she has to go to. Well, she's going to have those responsibilities with a horse on top of that.
Yeah.
And she's going to have to negotiate that and figure it out. And then there's going to be, certain
But also, I'm
expenses.
excited to have a horse because I kind of want to play with it too.
Well, there's going to be certain expenses that around the horse that we have to work out
Yeah.
that she's going to have to pay for, and she's going to have to put in her hours on the time card, get paid, and pay for certain things. Like we're not footing the bill on like just an expensive playtime,
Right.
you know.
Yeah.
Um, but you know, like right now, she enjoys going for rides on the four wheeler on the Polaris, and I've never once asked her to put gas in it. Right?
Right.
We pay for that.
Right.
Um, and these are all things that over time, if they could add up if you're not paying attention, and take away from her understanding the cost of things. And it's important to me that she understands the cost of things. Like I'm not going to start charging her gas for the Polaris, but the cost of the horse is something that she does
Yeah.
need to realize. And there are certain things, like I'm not going to make her buy her own saddle. I mean, but guess what? If she wants to save up and get a fancier, better saddle, that's on her.
Right.
You know,
Right.
certain treats that are not necessary, but she wants to do it. That's on her. There's going to be certain things that we're going to figure out
Yeah.
a plan to that she's going to have to pay for.
Yeah. And there'll be things like, I'm sure like for Christmas, if there's something that she wants related to riding or the horse or something, she'll be like,
Right.
maybe that's going to be something on her list or whatever.
Sure.
And that's fine.
Sure.
Like,
because that's for
what
her.
kid doesn't do that? Like if they're into baseball, then they want the new baseball mitt or they want the new special bat or what, you know what I mean?
Right.
So I get it. Like there's stuff like that and that whatever. But
And like if we find a good place for lessons around here, we're not going to make her pay for her own lessons. Like
right,
when your kid wants to take riding lessons, you pay for it.
Yeah.
When your kid wants to take music lessons, you pay for it. Right.
Which we've done.
Which we're going to do.
Yeah.
It's just trying to figure out certain things that are extra and a kind of a beyond that she will be responsible for, because we're trying to teach her responsibility.
Right.
And that's really what it boils down to. And
it's good for her to learn too, like, the reality of like, oh, if I run the Polaris and the gas, she knows how much gas costs, and she knows if she's going to go for a ride, like how much gas is it going to use if she's out there for 20 minutes? You know what I mean? Like she knows that.
It could get to that. I mean, it could get to, if she likes going for longer and longer rides on the Polaris, and
well, she won't once she gets a horse.
Right, once she gets a horse,
she's never going to touch it again.
Yeah.
She'll be like, I don't want to get in the Polaris. I'm going to go get on my horse.
So yeah, I just feel like we're trying to find that balance, find that that place where we're teaching her responsibility, and we're teaching her to budget. Even if it's on a small scale, if we're only talking about $100 a month worth of budgeting, it's a start. It's somewhere to start, and I just feel like that's important.
And I also think too that like when she gets her first like job outside of us, she'll be in a much better position to like understand. There's like when they're working together as like employee and employer, like there's a little bit more of a like, hey, go do, like there's no sassing, there's no like, well, I mean, they still may joke around just like you would with your coworker, but there's definitely more like down to business. And I think that'll be helpful for her. Like when she does go get a job, she knows like, okay, this is what it's supposed to be like. I'm supposed to work and till they stay stuck. Like, so
yeah, like you don't sit down on your phone and start scrolling through TikTok just because you finished the task that I had you on.
Right.
Like, no, you're on the clock. Raise your hand and say, I'm not sure what to do next.
Yeah.
Those are the things I'm trying to teach her, because I'll tell you, there as an employer, there's nothing more frustrating to me than to find out that someone was sitting down scrolling through YouTube on their phone because they finished a task, and no one had told them another task to do.
Yeah.
It's like, dude, raise your hand, man. Like pick up your phone and call me and say, I'm not sure what to do next. And instead of just saying, well, I was done, so nobody told me what to do next, I'm waiting for somebody to tell me what to do next. Those are the things that I'm teaching her not to be, because those do not make good employees.
That's like a generational thing too. I think you see like waves of that. I started to see it when I was, I guess, a little bit older in the workforce, and the new wave was coming in, and they were like, I was in my 30s, probably my mid 30s, and they were like in their early 20s, and that's what they did. Like if they finished something, it doesn't matter how much work, the phone's ringing off the hook, whatever, something's happening, and they're like, taking a selfie or doing
Nobody
whatever.
told
And I'm
me.
like,
Nobody told me to answer the phone.
yeah,
You told me to sort this
right,
stack, red here, blue here. I'm done with
right,
that. You've told me nothing else to do.
right.
I'm assuming I can sit on my phone and wait until somebody tells me something else to do.
Yeah,
That's not good.
no,
Like, you do not want to be that person.
no.
If you're that person and you're watching this right now, do a little self-evaluating. You're not going very far in life like that.
Somebody's talking about you behind your back right now
Right.
too.
And that's one of the things that I'm trying to teach her, you know, and she's getting really good, especially because a lot of what we do is similar, right? So she's really good about being able to look around and kind of start to know what's next. Like, if I'm working with my buddy Nate, or if I'm working with Ryan over on it, we want the job to get done, right? We want the job to get done, and we know that we're racing, you know, the sun or the rain's coming in or whatever it is. You know, we want the job to get done, and we want it to get done as quickly as can be efficiently done. So, like, we're not gonna say, "Hey, bro, I'll do that," and he says, "Cool, I'll do that," and then we both do the thing that we were gonna do, and then we like sit down and take a break and have a conversation about, yeah, well, you know, what you want. No, we just recognize what needs done and we do it. And occasionally we'll say, "Hey, man, can you give me a hand real quick?" "Yeah, yeah, let me finish this." Boom, he'll come over. "What do you need?" "Ah, this is too heavy for me. It's 2-man lift." "Okay, cool." You know, and then we're back on doing our own thing, and we're focused on what we need to do to get the job done. And that takes experience, right? That you can't expect that from someone who doesn't have the experience to look at the situation and recognize something that needs to be done, right? As a person gets experience, which I'm starting to see in her now, then she starts to recognize things, and I'll see her just step off of that and start that of her own accord. And I'm like, yeah, it's working, right? This is how it's supposed to work. This is how it worked when I was a kid. You know, when I was a kid, if you sat down and like started playing with 2 rocks, because we didn't have phones and internet when I was a kid, somebody's gonna slap you upside the head. You know, they just were like, "What are you doing?" I didn't tell you to take a break. That was the way it was when I did not tell you to take a break, and you didn't ask me to take a break. And if you'd asked me, I'd have said no, because we got work to do. That was the generation when I was a kid. It is very different now. But I think that we can still teach our children to work hard and within reason and be just, I mean, understanding what's going on and being able to think for themselves and continue to move projects forward. That's who the world needs. That's at least who the United States needs, because we're lacking a lot of those right now.
And Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles, they need them too.
They do need Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles. We need some in the sewers in Washington, D.C. right now under Capitol Hill.
Yeah,
Getting ready to sneak up and straighten some things out.
there you
I'm
go.
just saying.
I love it. On that note, guys, we gotta go get that wasp stopped.
Yeah, there's one wasp
Making a nest.
starting to make a little nest up
Yeah.
there. And I'm gonna go end its life.
There's a little swatter down there you can grab. I keep it there to keep me
I'm gonna
safe.
end its life.
Yeah, you can go make it go to the wasp afterlife. But anyway, we appreciate you guys. Thank you for hanging out with us. And
That was a random talk today.
It was, but
We never know.
sometimes we do, but
Sometimes we know for sure.
I got some other things to talk about tomorrow with you guys, and I think I may have a problem. So tomorrow I may.
Oh, you got a problem.
I got a problem that I may need you guys' advice on.
I'm curious which one she's about to air out, but you got a problem or two.
Well, it's currently sitting to the left of me. Just kidding. Anyway, guys, we appreciate you. We'll see you tomorrow. Have a great one. I can't talk. Have a great rest of your night.
Love you guys.